They say the palace walls are not made of stone but of secrets. When Maylene entered the imperial palace as a lowly maid, she had only one dream: to earn enough silver to care for her sick mother in the countryside. She never imagined she would step into a world where every smile could hide a dagger. The empress ruled with grace and beauty, but her eyes were cold as jade. The concubines glittered like jewels, each one desperate to win the emperor's favor. And Maylene, she was invisible, until one winter morning changed everything. Snow had fallen through the night. The plum blossoms in the courtyard were heavy with frost. While sweeping the path, Maylene noticed a young man struggling to light a lantern. Thinking him a guard, she offered help. He looked up, smiled softly, and together they shielded the flame from the wind. She didn't know then that the man was the emperor himself, walking the palace in disguise, searching for a moment of peace away from his golden cage. From that day, the emperor remembered her, the girl who didn't bow in fear but smiled with warmth. A week later, Maylene was summoned to serve in the Plum Blossom Court, the emperor's private garden. Whispers followed her everywhere. Who is she? Why her? Some envied her. Others plotted, but Maylene kept her head down and her heart steady. One night, while preparing tea, she overheard a plot. The empress's maid whispering about poisoned tea meant for concubine Jen, the emperor's favorite. Maylene hesitated only for a heartbeat. Then she switched the trays. The next morning, it was the empress's own attendant who fell ill, and the palace erupted in panic. Summoned before the throne, Maylene knelt as the emperor asked, "Who told you to change the tea?" "No one, Your Majesty," she answered quietly. "I only wish to serve faithfully." He studied her carefully before smiling faintly. Sometimes loyalty needs no command. From that day, Maylene became a lady-in-waiting, serving close to the emperor. But jealousy never sleeps. The empress grew suspicious, and one night Maylene's quarters were set aflame. She escaped with her life, though her hand was burned. Still, she refused to seek revenge. When the emperor visited her, she said softly, "Your Majesty, a flower cannot bloom in fire, but even ashes feed the roots of tomorrow." The emperor looked at her for a long time, then placed a simple plum blossom hairpin in her hand. "Then bloom again, Maylene." Seasons passed. The empress's deceit was uncovered and she was removed from power. In her place, the emperor chose to elevate Maylene, not for ambition but for her integrity. She became Consort May, keeper of the Plum Blossom Court. She wore no jewels, only the simple hairpin he gave her, a symbol of honesty in a palace built on pride. Years later, when the emperor grew weary of endless politics, he made a quiet decree. He would pass the throne to his son and leave the palace behind. And when he departed, he did not go alone. Hand in hand, the emperor and Maylene left through the Plum Blossom Gate, walking toward the mountain she once dreamed of returning to. In the countryside, they built a small home by a river surrounded by plum trees. There were no guards, no courtiers, no schemes, and only laughter, tea, and peace. When villagers asked who they were, Maylene would smile and say, "Just two old souls who once lived among the blossoms." And though the palace forgot their names, the Plum Blossom Court remained, always in bloom, even in winter, as if the trees themselves remembered their love. Because in the end, Maylene did not just survive the palace, she escaped it, and found happiness not in crowns or titles, but in the simple warmth of a heart that chose her, again and again.